everybody, welcome back if you're returning to my channel, and if you're new, my name is Jen. I go by the Leafy Geek here and also on the Instagram. And last video I showed you this lovely wall of Hoya. This is half of my Hoya room, hello, and we had a good tour last time. This time I'm going to show you what remains. I'm going to show you the rest of the Hoya plants in here, in this particular room. Most of them will be on this Hoya, or this it is a Hoya shelf, who am I kidding? This IKEA shelf. It's a really big feature in this room, and I really just love it. And it houses most of my smaller Hoya, as you can see here. I've got some nice statement plants up in the corner of this top shelf here. We'll start with the Lacunosa Black. This I got, fairly recently. It was this year. One of my newer Hoyas. Disregard the packing fiber that I'm continuously picking out of this plant. But it's a beautiful specimen. It's got a lot of vinage, a lot of yardage, and that color is amazing. Right behind it, I have my Hoya can I even pronounce that? That's the one I've always struggled with. Surigaoensis. That's the newest leaf. This one tends to sun stress really nicely. I have it under kind of the brightest part of the shelf, or under the lights, directly under the lights there. Some dieback on that one. We'll kind of see what happens. This is my Carnosa compacta variegata. And this one I revived from a cutting, or I took cuttings off the plant that was dying, and it's bounced back. Right next to that is HOYA Aldrichii, which has been stagnant. The next two plants back here on the shelf have been stagnant for many, many months. So it was very timely, my Rangsan, very timely that I decided to release some beneficial insects, some predator mites into my space, onto my plants, just a few minutes ago. But this one, I love these plants so much. This top shelf of Hoya are really, really some of my favorite varieties, and I've been noticing quite a bit of downturn on these plants in particular, these smaller Hoya, and just really nubbly growth, not doing much, even though you can see there's some new leaves on that Globulosa, on the Dekeyae. This is my smaller specimen of Merillii, which seems to also be bouncing back slightly, but they all really struggled for quite a bit. And some of that might have been my fault. Smaller Hoya are really difficult to maintain as far as if you're an underwaterer, because they're smaller than you think, they need more water than you think. And yeah, both specimens of my Dekeyae have new leaves now, which is a good thing to see, and my Australis Lisa back there has been basically the same size forever, and I'm seeing some new growth on it finally. So I guess if I got my watering right, if the predator mites will help at all with any potential pests that live on these, that'd be great. So this is my Curtisii. This is one of my favorite Hoya of all time. It's absolutely awesome. This thing has been growing like constantly since I've had it. I've had it a couple years now. I love that plant so much. This is what's left of my Linearis. As you can see, it's pretty bushy at the bottom of those 3 strands that are left from my old plant, from the original plant. Next shelf down, I've got an Obovata variegata here, or Obovata picta. This is the one that I am kind of questioning, concerned a little bit about the potential for spider mites on it. Or flat mites, whatever the case may be. It's struggled a bit with maintaining some decent Obovata leaves. All the new ones have come in kind of deformed. Similarly with this Viola, I really love this one. It's just not done anything for many months. And again, have that weird growth. Let me see if I can give you a closer look at some of this. Actually, I think one of the other plants I'm going to show you, I do, but similar thing. Just not, not a lot of growth. As you can see, the Cagayanensis right there is doing okay. So the next three I'm going to show you are actually all cuttings that I saved from deteriorating mother plants. So they're kind of getting a second life here, these three. But again, they had been displaying inconsistent, incongruent, nubby, weird growth that doesn't seem to be getting much better. So it was time for the predator mites. This is my HOYA Polyneura Broget. It's beautiful. I love it. Fishtail HOYA is a little bit polarizing. I am on the side of they are awesome and I want all of them. This is my Dischidia ovata. This is my one remaining Dischidia. And then I also have another variety, or this is just a regular Polyneura, that I actually purchased when I thought I was going to be losing my original Polyneura, which is back there. So this one, again, had to try and revive it. The main root system died off, rotted, whatever. I took cuttings, I stuck them in soil. They yellowed and then eventually started putting out new growth, as you can see there at the very tips. But just a weird looking HOYA that I'm trying to recover. My Nova Ghost. This is one of my wish list HOYA that I picked up. This one, again, it's a 2-leaf, probably a cutting. I believe it's rooted. I did a root check. Or just like a gentle tug, and met resistance. So I have high hopes for that one. But ultimately, if I can figure out the pest situation and see what happens now that I've released those little guys, we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. It's the name of the game. This is my HOYA Vitellinoides. New growth. It looks a little weird. Some of the leaves on this plant look a little bit weird, so I'm keeping a close eye on it. But it's healthy overall. Like there's succulence to the leaves. There's new growth on it. There's just some odd colorations that I'm noticing. That could be incongruent watering. I think it shipped to me during a cold week. It's a newer one of mine, but we'll see. This one I've had for a while, the Kinkanerva. And it looks so weird, this one. Again, one of those that has not done a whole heck of a lot. It's producing weird sets of leaves in a very symmetrical fashion. These are the two newest ones, those small, derpy-looking ones. So jury's out on that one. This is a cutting. I cannot for the life of me remember where I got this thing. Yeah, I think it was actually Jaya's Jungle. She's on Instagram. Find her. She's awesome. That's right. This is what remains of my original HOYA Lacunosa. It's pretty underwhelming. So is this. My original HOYA Chelsea. Again, have been trying to revitalize some of these plants after they experienced a bit of neglect during my not okay phase this summer. HOYA Revolubilis is actually, this is one of kind of my rock stars of the little HOYAs that I have, because this thing sat around, did nothing, had 3 leaves for a bit, and now all of a sudden is producing that beautiful vine with 2 new leaves that I'm very scared to touch because I do not want anything to happen to them. So this is my Carnosa compacta, my original. Yep. Again, from cuttings. Saved the cuttings from the dying mother plant. Back here is an Iris Marie. Got that from Steve's Leaves. That's a newer one from this year. And then again, this one right here. More cuttings. More second life HOYAs. This is Krinkles Tinkles. And then this one, HOYA McGillivrayi. I would love to see something happen with this. It's been pretty quiet. The vine that it came with, or that it had originally, died back right there. So I'm just kind of waiting and seeing to see if it produces another growth point. And then very, very at the bottom of the shelf here is my HOYA macrantha. I did have two in this same little pot. One of them died off. This was the plant I was going to show you the weird growth on. Look at that weirdo. I don't know what's happening with this. The leaves seem healthy, but the growth does not, the new growth. So very much, again, going to attempt to solve that problem. And then I have a little trifecta of Pubicalyx right here. I've got the purple leaf one. God, I'm blanking on the actual variety name. This one I think is red buttons. And then, yeah, this one's a little bit weird. The leaves are just kind of deformed looking. It came like this, a little oblong, skinny, little wobbly looking. And then right here is my Neocaledonica. And again, this was just, it's a little guy. It probably was a barely rooted cutting when I got it. It's done nothing for months. So predator mites it is. But I mean, it's a decent little display. I definitely have HOYA that used to live on the shelf that are no longer there, no longer with us. And then I have some new ones. I totally forgot to show you guys this plant on my previous video. It's sitting on that display with my larger HOYA because it's one of my favorites and it's front and center. Don't know what that little dangly bit is. Don't think it's webbing. I think it's just part of the umbel there. But as you can see, it's budding out. It's got new growth. HOYA Jennifer. It's one of my favorites. This is a survivor plant. I've brought this one back from the brink a few times, and it's been doing really well for the last year for me. It's really pretty. Love the veining on it. Then up top, so this shelf is right above my sofa bed that lives in this room. As you can see, here's kind of a quick span and scan of the rest of the room from my vantage point on the couch. And I just have three HOYA that I feel do relatively well in lower light. I try not to keep plants on the shelf for too long. I'm in the process of getting a grow light established above it. But I rotate them out against that grow light, that clip-on grow light. So this is Pubicalyx Black Dragon. This is one of the green-leafed varieties of Pubicalyx. You usually see them speckled, but this species does not have speckling. And it's just a really pleasant, good grower, lots of vines, doesn't seem bothered by the fact that it's living next to an LED light. It's just a happy little guy. But next to it is another HOYA that is very, very low maintenance and seems to do okay up here and actually grows. This is, I think, just a generic Pubicalyx, if I recall correctly. Just one of those run-of-the-mill. I collect Pubicalyxes. I love them for a HOYA that's going to fill a space and leaf out, and you don't have to worry about it. They just do their thing. They look cool. I love Pubicalyx. It's a hill I'm going to die on. This is just a regular Carnosa. And again, this one doing pretty well based on where it is. All of the new growth is vining out the front here. You can see a couple of new growth points there. This longer vine, I think is dying off that went up the trellis. But yeah, some really active grow points on the front of it. It's just a really nice little pop of green up here that was missing. And I am going to get another grow light, an overhead grow light, to kind of screw into my ceiling right above them. So they will eventually be a little bit happier, I'm sure. But they're doing okay. So here is a slow pan of my beautiful HOYA room, you guys. I'm really, really grateful that you tuned in. I was really happy to share this with you. I'll keep you posted on the predator mite situation. And next video, there will be a part 3. I'll show you my living room HOYAs.